Chancellor Angela Merkel, fresh off a trip to Moscow, met with U.S. President Barack Obama here in Washington. Both leaders are trying to show a united front in responding to the escalating violence. CCTV's Nathan King has been monitoring this and the German Chancellor's visit here to Washington. And I guess the question is, are they as united as they're trying to appear to be?
Well, it depends on the issue, Mike. You know, they are natural allies, Germany and the US, on many issues. But they do have differences over trade, espionage, and perhaps now, Ukraine. US President Barack Obama and German Chancellor Angela Merkel appeared side by side at the White House for a joint news conference, expressing unity, despite Germany's warning that supplying arms to Russian-backed separatists could escalate the Ukraine conflict.
I don't see a military solution to this conflict, but we have to put all our efforts in bringing about a diplomatic solution.
If, in fact, diplomacy fails, what I've asked my team to do is to look at all options. And the possibility of lethal defensive weapons is one of those options that's being examined.
The US says if it does provide lethal weapons, they would be for defensive purposes, enabling the Ukrainian government to stop what it calls separatist rebels from taking more territory. Meanwhile, Germany and France continue to push their peace plan, which calls for a withdrawal of heavy weaponry and the creation of a demilitarized zone. The two countries, along with the leaders of Russia and Ukraine, are holding a summit on Wednesday in the Belarus capital of Minsk. If the talks fail, diplomatic and economic costs could mount for the Russians, who are accused of providing the Ukrainian separatists with weapons, soldiers and political support. The potential rift over whether to arm Ukrainian forces has led some to see strains in the US-European alliance. An alliance which one former US ambassador to Ukraine says is vital.
The economic sanctions are much stronger if the Americans and Europeans continue to hold together on that. And so it is a legitimate question about providing weapons and a serious decision. And there is a lot of discussion, I am sure, between the Americans and the Europeans about this.
There is unity, however, on extending the deadline for negotiations on Iran's nuclear program without the threat of more sanctions. However, differences remain over the pace of the transatlantic trade talks, and the US president acknowledged that the revelations of US surveillance on the German Chancellor has damaged relations. The White House is working to, quote, rebuild that trust.
You know, there's been all this analysis that Putin's trying to drive this wedge between Europe and the United States. Any sign at all of potential split between Germany and the U.S.?
Potentially, but not yet. What we do see is a bit of good cop, bad cop going on, where the Europeans are willing to invest in yet more diplomacy, while the US talks about taking a tougher line, sending those arms to the Ukrainian government. But I can tell you that in European capitals, they are adamant about not sending more weapons into Ukraine. It's not just Germany, it's France, even hawkish United Kingdom are doing it. I think there's only one member of the European Union that said arms would be a good idea, and that was Lithuania. And as you know, they're right on the Baltic states, on the border with Russia.
All right. Thanks so much, Nathan.
No problem.